Anode Heart. This game was a pretty pleasant surprise to see pop up on Steam. As the store page says, it is an open-world creature collector RPG that takes heavy impressions from other creature collectors, most notably Digimon World 3 2003 from the PS6 EMO. You can tell a lot of love and effort was put into making this game the best it could be, and I think the band succeeds in almost every regard. The battle system is pretty simple. It's turn-based combat where each of your monsters have various attacks and that have a TP cost. In battle there is a gauge with pips at the bottom of the screen, and the TP cost will be reflected in how many pips are highlighted when you hover over a specific tag. Each tag also has a certain number of times it can be used without drawback, but if you do try to keep spamming one tag, you will start to take recoil damage, so you are encouraged to keep a wide variety of attacks. Both tags and tamer also have elements, with there being 8 elements in the game: wind, fire, elec, ice, water, earth, native and mechanic. And obviously, there is a weakness resistance system to go along with this. There is a technical nature element that seems to have no weakness or resistance. Some tamer are also dark element, which means their weakness resistance are the opposite of what they normally would be. Overall, I think battles are pretty well balanced, outside the last 2 bosses of the game being a bit much for my tastes. As far as raising your tamer goes, there is no real involved care like feeding or all that, you just level them up by battling. The basic stats of the game are HP, strength, magic, speed and wisdom, your dodge and the likelihood of learning tags from defeated enemy tamer. There is also the potential system, which is that when your tamer levels up, it will gain potential, which you can spend to further increase your tamer stats at your desire. Another of the main mechanics of the game is the reboot system, which is what keeps you from just over leveling out the gate. All your tamers will have a max level that can most easily be increased by rebooting, which resets a tamer to its most basic from at level 1, but gives the tamer a large amount of potential. There are other ways to increase a tamer's max level, such as consumable items, but rebooting is the most reliable one. You will unlock the ability to reboot after beating the first sackful boss, and my advice is to explore the world thoroughly to find more reboot capability. The game at one point will tell you to have to go to a rained city, but that sequence is actually pretty hard with only being able to reboot tamer once, and you can find 2 more side quests in Memory Meadow and Peripheral Cliffs that can give you the ability to reboot your tamer twice more in total. I haven't covered every single system in this review, but this should give you a good enough overview to figure out if this kind of game for you. There is also other stuff to do besides just beating and taking care of the main story. There is also a whole card beating mini game, with a very similar to the card game into from Digimon World 3, that you can sink hours into if you are so inclined. Speaking of the story, I do want to at least touch on what I thought of it. So honestly, I think the story could have been improved upon, but it's not objectively bad or anything. It's serviceable with works for me. I think the main characters is pretty charming too, despite being a silent protagonist, and there is a couple of pretty funny moments. So overall, I'd say this game is great throwback to the Digimon War series and other creature collectors, and would definitely recommend it if you are the kind of person who can put up with a bit of grinding and enjoys having the freedom to make pretty much any option work.